Yeah, and I'm excited. It's just going to keep getting better and better. As of January 5th of this year, Arma Reforger has achieved significant milestones across all platforms. Total units sold over 1.5 million copies since its early access release in 2022. Daily active users on January 5th, 2025, the game reached a peak of 169,210 unique daily players across PC, Xbox, and PlayStation.
Jeez.
Over 55,000 on Steam, over 38,000 on Xbox, and over 75,000 on PlayStation, the majority being on PlayStation. Concurrent users on PC, a new record was set with 12,547 concurrent players on Steam. These achievements highlight the game's growing popularity and the developer's commitment to ongoing updates and community engagement. Dang, man.
Nice. Wow. Yeah, sounds like it's here to stay.
Welcome gamers, non-gamers, PvEers, PvPers, and even NPCs. We don't discriminate. This is the New Wave Gaming Podcast with your hosts, ChukTomahawk and Ovox. Episode 63, and we're stoked to be back with you guys. Hope you're having a great weekend. Or if you hear this in the new week, hope you had a great weekend. Speaking of weekends, Chuck, how's your weekend going, man?
Pretty decent, man. We're kind of snowed in here, so we're set up for gaming and chilling out inside, keeping warm.
Nice. That sounds cozy, man.
Yeah, it does feel pretty cozy. How's it going down there?
It's very cold, but cold for us is different. Like I'm looking at the sun shining right now, but it's cold outside, man. And like yesterday, we were getting one of those Santa Ana like wind things coming through. It was windy all day. It was pretty intense, but it's nice. Otherwise, it's really nice. What was I going to mention about the? Oh yeah, it. Speaking of cold weather, I don't think it snowed, but it hailed so much that it looked like snow in the pictures up in Bahia Tortuga.
No kidding.
which is Baja. I think it's still in Baja Sur, right? So that's still like lower peninsula, man. And it was like I saw some pictures that this is unverified, but it was it was Facebook legit.
I love seeing people that have never seen snow like see it for the first time. Like that is some of my favorite thing to watch. Atlanta got a pretty good bust and which is super rare. And my feed on social media this morning, it's been all kind of just mayhem.
Just people
partying at apartment complexes, sliding in the snow, making snowmen with gold chains and just crazy stuff.
Man, that's so cool. Yeah. Well, that's cool. Well, all right, that's awesome. I'm glad you're doing well. I'm glad you're nice and cozy. Yeah. Same here. We're all sweatered up. Got some beanies right here close by just in case our ears get chilly, but we got the headphones for now. And we want to talk about, well, man, I don't even know where to begin. I'm already getting we got to talk about this new Arma Reforger. Yeah. It is hitting the gaming world very successfully and just causing a whole wave, man.
Nice.
I don't know how else to put it. I was trying to think of some clever way to come into this, but I'm just going to come into it, just saying Arma Reforger is so much fun. I have been extremely, extremely pleased, having a great time, and I'm excited to talk about it.
Yeah, so in general, it's a mil sim game, which I feel like it's pretty rare on console. Like usually those I see on PC.
Yeah, that's exactly that was in the beginning. That was my whole I was so caught off guard with all this, and to be honest, because the way I found out about Arma Reforger, was on a Jack Frags video on YouTube. I think I shared it with you guys. I don't know if you checked it out, but you know, he's usually a PC. You know, Jack Frags is all about that PC, I think. So he's playing this game, and it just looks cool. You know, it's just like initially it looks like I'm looking at a Call of Duty, a Battlefield, you know, but it looked, you know, kind of modern. More modern times. It wasn't like World War I or World War II, and it wasn't like super futuristic either. As we'll see, it's based in the Cold War, so I think it's based like around 1989.
Okay.
So, you know, kind of that late 80s, early 90s kind of tech, which, you know, I don't think we were using drones back then and stuff like that. You know, not even the little handheld rudimentary ones. Maybe, perhaps, I don't know. But, you know, so those kind of times. And so, you know, Jack Frags is playing this game, and I'm just kind of like, okay, let's see what we're dealing with here. And then he goes, and it was just released on PS5, and I was like, what? So then, you know, my attention level went up. Like, then I was like, okay, we're watching this, because, you know, his videos can get a little lengthy, you know, a lot of dope gameplay, but yes, it's a milsim to put it very, very shortly. And I actually pulled up a nice little description here. I'll read it, and I'm fully taking advantage of ChatGPT, just to be honest.
Nice.
It says, Arma Reforger is a tactical military simulation game developed by Bohemia Interactive, released on PS5 in 2025. So I'm going to pause there real quick. That was one of the things also, Chuck, that was like, you know, it just got released on PS5, but it already had some time out on PC and Xbox. I think it released at the same time on those platforms back in 2022. Oh. And I guess Arma's actually like a franchise, and they've had some really, according to what I've heard, some successful games. I'm just going to suppose that they're called Arma 2, Arma 3, you know? Mm-hmm. And Arma 4 is supposed to be coming out. And this is kind of like a game that they released to like keep everyone sitting tight until Arma 4 comes out. And I think they don't quote me on this, fellow gamers, but I think they kind of wanted to use this game to showcase their engine, which I think is called the Infusion engine. Mm-hmm. I think it's theirs. And I think, man, I know that I'm dropping a lot of I thinks here, but you know, you guys can check this out. But I think there's like some sort of a relation here to DayZ. Makes or something sense. Like, I think it's DayZ. Like, I think there's like a relationship here. I don't know if it's like same developers or not. I mean, we'll check that. But anyways, so yes, it's a PS5, released on PS5 in 2025, like I think a little over a week ago, maybe 2 weeks ago. And it's a spiritual successor to the Arma series, which is known for its highly detailed and realistic gameplay. The game is set on the fictional island of Everon, offering a diverse range of environments for combat, exploration, and strategy. Arma Reforger is designed to bring a more accessible and optimized experience for both newcomers and veterans of the series, while retaining the tactical depth for which Arma is famous. Here are some interesting details and stats about Arma Reforger. Key features: realistic combat simulation. Arma Reforger offers highly detailed mechanics with a focus on military tactics, vehicle operation, and communication in multiplayer. I'm going to pause there real quick. Chuck. Communication. Dude, so you really have to talk to people. Like, and it's in the DNA of the game, man. You have to.
I can see why, yeah. Even without playing it, like I can, you know, I think I mentioned I tried a game called Foxhole that was, you know, kind of down that road, where you basically got like a squad leader and like you got to work together. Like,
you did tell me about that.
Yeah, and I don't mean just like you got to fight together. Like you got to, if you're going to build, you know, something, one of you's got to go get, you know, certain resource here, and you know, it's heavily involved. It felt like.
Yep, that sounds very similar to what we're talking about here. Yeah, because like it took Pepe Tortilla and I a little bit to figure it out. In fact, we started playing with other players, and well, of course you have to, but they were helping us learn, because that was something that was so cool, is that everyone that we were playing with, because we set our set our filters to play with other PS5 players only. So you can do that. You can turn it on and off that cross-platform little setting there. So we turned it off just for now because we wanted to make sure we were playing with other people that were just as new as us. And there's such a, and we're going to get into those numbers, but there's so many people playing right now that it finding servers that were jam-packed with players, like you could go on right now and you'd have to get in a queue. There's so many players. So it was really cool to communicate with these other people that were also noobs and beginners, and while playing, we're exchanging what we've learned. Oh, guys, I just figured out how to do this, here, this is how you do it. And if you hold start down, it'll take you into third person. Oh my God, there's third person. Just it's really cool stuff like that. And then the communication is so insane, man. You really got to talk to players, but it's not just that. It's the interesting fact or detail that, if you're in a party chat on PS5, then you're in a party chat on PS5. And it actually kind of removes from the depth of the game if you do that, because if you're playing how it's intended, you're not in party chat, you're in the game chat, and it's so cool, dude. I think I'm getting ahead of myself.
It's proximity chat is how you're talking.
There is proximity chat, but you have radio. You have that old school style radio, dude, with megahertz and frequencies, and you have to connect with your crew, and you can only connect with your crew as far as you have taken territory and set up communication relays to do it. Nice. So there's times, dude. Where let's say you're let's say we get cut off and you're deep in enemy territory where we haven't set up relays yet. Dude, we're not going to be able to communicate with you, man. It's crazy. It's so cool. It's just fuck, where's Chuck? We got to get back up there. Oh man, it's so fun. Okay. I got
the radio's unreliable. That seems to be the reality I've found.
Well, in the game, they're a core component, a core mechanic of the communication system in the game. So as long as you've done everything correctly, they will work smooth. Uh-huh. But so here's a really cool thing that I learned the other day that with playing with playing on there is that if you down an enemy and you can go, or if you unalive them, whatever, bleep that out. I've heard you can't say that anymore. You unalive them?
The algorithm, yeah.
Yeah. So if you do that, you can go up and you check their body, check their gear and everything, which is very detailed, dude. There's trousers, there's the blouse, there's the backpack. You can check all these things, and you can take their radio and check what frequency it was on and tune into the enemy. It's so detailed. You know what I mean? It's so cool.
You're eavesdropping on other people's conversations.
Yes.
Can they hear you team. Or you just hear them?
No. As long as you don't say anything. Wow. Oh man. Yeah. So, and I'm going to go back to these key features. Yes. Communication and multiplayer and the realistic combat simulation. I can confirm that is legit.
Nice.
And then it says here, open world sandbox. The game's large open world environment allows for expansive tactical operations, including both infantry and vehicle-based combat. There's ensemble play. The game introduces multiplayer mechanics for both co-op and PvP play, featuring up to 64 players on a server with different factions to choose from, adding variety to the gameplay experience. Those factions are USA, Russia, and then there's these guerrilla groups or rebel groups. I don't remember the initials, but there's another little non-player character faction. But you can't join them. You can either join the USA or Russia. I've played on both, and they're both tremendously fun. It's really what's cool about the playing on the Russian side is that they're speaking in Russian, so it just sounds really cool, and you don't necessarily know what they're saying, but it's I'm not going to try and simulate what it sounds like, but it's really cool. And then it says mods and community content. Bohemia Interactive has placed a heavy emphasis on modding support. Players can create and share custom content, ensuring the game remains dynamic with player-driven updates. Advanced AI. The game features highly adaptive AI that responds to player strategies, offering an unpredictable and challenging experience. I want to pause right there. The NPCs in this game, you can't tell. You think they're real players.
Really?
Man, they are, dude. I mean, it's not that, I'm sorry, that was a bit of an exaggeration, but it's probably some of the best like shooter AI I've come against. I mean, Pepe Tortilla and I were playing yesterday or the day before. And, we kind of decided, you know what, let's create our own squad. If someone joins in, they can join in. We'll just create our own squad and let's go engage this objective and take the town. There was like a town. It was called Objective Wisconsin, I think. Yeah, it was Wisconsin. So we head for Wisconsin and our first, we were approaching in a vehicle. And we found a good spot to get in. We started going up this little creek to the left, but they heard the vehicle and they started approaching the area. And I think one of us took a shot and it missed. And then they these honed in on us and but you could tell the way the NPCs moved that they were not doing the whole they were they hear the shot, turn. And then they start coming, and then there was another you could just tell something they'll if you're in a vehicle, they'll engage the vehicle and shoot into the windows to nail you. It's not like they're shooting in the direction of the vehicle and you're getting your car hit. It's no, they're really good. The AI is really good.
Kind of hard to kite them places and stuff I guess.
You ain't kiting nothing.
Yeah.
You ain't kiting nothing. They're kiting you, and you don't know it.
NPCs in games have always kind of reminded me of like when you see a wasp in the house, it's just kind of fucking all over the place, bouncing off the wall and the lights and shit.
That's so true. Yeah. Holy shit. I never thought about that.
Sometimes it seems like it's coming after you, but then other times it's whoa.
Yeah, and then you're should I approach it? And then you decide to finally try and deal with it, and then it backfires and nails you and you're dead. Yeah. Stings you.
Yeah.
Gotcha. And then you're God damn it. Yeah. I should have left it alone.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah.
It's the first wasp that figured out how to use cover.
Yeah. Oh, that's funny. Yeah. That's funny. I like that. Yeah, that's good. Okay, and then the last little thing it pops up here is I mispronounced it. Okay, it says new engine. Arma Reforger uses the N-Fusion engine, not Infusion, my bad, which offers improved graphics, physics, and AI behaviors, providing a more immersive experience. It was released, January 2025. It's on the PS5, Xbox Series X and S, PC with cross-platform capabilities, up to 64 players. Yeah, multiplayer PvP, cooperative campaigns, and sandbox mode. Man, what a game! What a game! Nice.
Yeah.
And I got more for you here, but let's. I'll save it here for a moment. So, what are your thoughts, Chuck? What do you have to say to all that?
I did watch the video, and in the video, like some of the takeaways I remembered, it seemed like in his perspective, maybe he had done a video when it did come out on Xbox, 2022 or something, and kind of predicted it was going to blow up then, and it sort of did, but not maybe to the extent that he thought. But now it's released on further platforms, and all of a sudden it's it's all coming to fruition, what he had sort of previously predicted. And yeah, and I guess some of my questions, so it's not free, right? You got to pay for it, right?
Yeah, it ain't free. It's definitely not free, and I think it's $40 on the PlayStation 5 if you're in the US, and then on PC, at least down here in Mexico, it was 560 pesos or something, which is less.
Sounds like less, yeah.
It's less than 40. Yeah, a little bit less. I mean, it depends on, yeah. But it ain't no $60 or $80 game. And honestly, man, I mean, they just released it on PS5, right? So they're going to be dropping updates and things. And and just smoothing out the, but like so far there's very few glitches or there's a couple of little things that I've noticed, but otherwise it's really smooth.
It did go into that a little in the video. That was one of my questions too. Like it almost gave you the impression like at first like it wasn't finished, but then like later on I kind of took it more like it is finished, but there's going to be DLC, right? Like I think it mentioned like collapsible structures or something had just been added and like some stuff like that. Like it is, it's not beta, right? Like it's.
I think it's still an open access or early access.
It wasn't super clear in that video. Like it had a lot of the traits of open access, like because they're like, hey, this is coming next, and that kind of thing, which made you feel that way. But it also, like, you don't see them throw beta out on console super often. I guess they kind of did that with Off the Grid, but.
No, and to be perfectly honest with you, I'm not 100% sure what the difference between early access and beta is. You know what I mean? Like for me, it's like really the same thing. It's the developer's way of saying this isn't completely done yet, but we want you to get in there and get after it.
Yeah, I got the vibe like DLC ain't ever stopping. Almost more like No Man's Sky, like where it's.
Well, DLC's, DLC's. DLC, I mean, if that ever comes out, they'll announce it. That's basically like adding new content to a game beyond just updates.
Yeah.
So we want to make sure we're
just the regular updates are going to add stuff.
I don't think they're going to be sending us any DLC. I just think it's going to be updates that really polish the game. Really, really, and yeah, sure, maybe some more assets. Maybe here's this stuff that they maybe always intended on having, but it's not in there yet. Like, I'll give you an example. The whole mod thing is huge in this game. In fact, that Jack Frags video that I shared with you guys, he's playing a modded server in that game where they kind of like simulate. I think they were saying that they were trying to simulate modern warfare in Arma. So like in that particular modded server, they had some more new games. They had like, newer advanced guns, newer advanced equipment and stuff like that, which isn't available in the vanilla game, right? Because it's Cold War based. So he was playing a modded server, and that whole modded community thing is very huge in this game, and it's not available yet on PS5. So what I think that's one of the examples. I think they're gonna like keep updating and then be like, one day we're gonna be, all right, guys, we've got it all figured out. In this next update, we're gonna be opening up the community server tabs where you can play modded content and enjoy all that, because that's a big part of it. So like right now, when you play and you get in there is conflict mode, which is the main game, the main mode, I'd say. Then there's combat ops, which is more of a co-op game mode where you do like specific, I guess it's still open map, but you kind of do more like prepared missions for yourself. You're not just openly taking territory, but you're doing specific like missions where you got to like steal intel, assassinate a target, blow up an asset, deliver intel, escape, and you do it with your mates, like be you and I and Pepe Tortilla or something like that, just doing these missions. And the maps are, so it's all like, yeah. So there's that mode, and then there's conflict. There's combat ops, which is that last one I just described, and then there's a mode called Game Master, which is where you get to kind of like create and make scenarios, build scenarios, and then play them. And it's a great way also to kind of like practice, if you will, because like, if you're in conflict mode and you're with your squad rolling, and they, they're like, hey, pick up the law. We need you to take out that tank. And it's like your actual homie's telling you that. You're like, I've never shot that weapon before. Game Master's a great place to like practice all that. Kind of like in Rust. Remember in Rust how we'd go into those
staging branches.
And we just practice. Mm-hmm. Matter of fact, Chuck, there's a lot about this game that reminds me of Rust. A lot, especially the buildings. Like the buildings when we're clearing buildings and homes in like the little towns. when I go into them, like it's like, God, these buildings look a lot like the buildings in Rust. Like the same kind of style, the same kind of art style.
You do see the influence everywhere. I've been noticing Rust vibes in players, like in Arc PvP lately. Just where it's like they just like want that's their main focus. Like getting in there and raiding.
Just fucking shit up.
Yeah, it's like you just started on the server like a week ago. Like it's like they basically didn't build anything. They just started raiding, started building C4. But what about performance? I know he did mention like in there like it sounded more like in the 2022 time frame, like where like you couldn't stay in a game. Like there was some sounded more like glitch type bug.
Yeah, that's what I heard. I heard the same thing, that really it just had a rough release. That's what I heard. Like it just it just didn't quite do as well as they had hoped. That it was it was unpolished, glitchy, but and I can say now 2 years later, I guess going on to 3 years later, because we're in 2025 now. 2025. On PlayStation, I haven't felt any graphical issues or anything in terms of like performance. The performance has been really, really well. It's been great.
No crashing,
no crashing for myself. Maybe one or I think I've had 1 or 2 crashes, and I've been playing a lot. Like when I have time, I play a bunch. I've been playing it solid. And I've had 1 or 2 crashes, but in terms of just the general performance, now I gotta mention this because on PS5 they give you 2 choices: fidelity or performance. And I haven't even messed with fidelity. I went right to performance. So, sorry, 1 sec.
Nice.
I'll probably cut that.
You barely hear
it. I went right for performance to get the 60 frames.
Makes sense, yeah.
Just to ensure the 60 frames. So yeah, no, I think it's running very smoothly. They just did an update to fix a bunch of stuff where crashes were. It was a minor update. It wasn't anything huge, but they did that, and I'm confident they're going to be dropping updates consistently.
I feel like our bar's been set pretty low as far as like what we'll accept in crashing because of Arc.
Yeah.
Like
you don't have to do a lot
it's like,
to impress us.
Oh, you just have to stand on your head? Like, I'll do that. Like, it's working.
Basically, if the game turns on, you got us.
Yeah. Well, you just know it has to be good. You have to want it. Like if you don't want it, it'll be a reason to quit. But if you want it, like you're like, oh. Yeah,
I do have to say, there is one thing about this game is that I think in terms of because it's more of a simulator and not so much just like a pre-prepared combat game. Like, you spawn in, you got your loadout, you go and blah, 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 blah. And then, it is really like a simulator. So there's a lot of, you got to take everything with a lot more care. You can't just be running out there.
So let's say that, like as you described, that mission.
Well, hold on. I want to finish my sure. my line there, but like, so it's designed that way, and it's on PC. That's no factor, right? Because there's all these to do all these different things. There's buttons for it. There's keys. There's mouse. You got a lot of buttons. So one thing I noticed is that when they had to port that over to the PS5 controller and map all of these functions onto the controllers, it does take a little bit, nothing crazy. We're gamers, we figure this stuff out fast, but it does take a little bit to figure out the controls, especially when you're dealing with the inventory menus. So like, and to that effect, if I could give anyone a tip that if you're going to start playing Arma Reforger, my number 1 tip would be to try out the tutorial, because it will teach you a bunch and it's fun. But yeah, when you're in the inventories, it takes a little bit to figure out how to move stuff, how to drop stuff, equip stuff. And, there's times when you want to be able to do that relatively quickly. So, if you have someone that you can learn that from or lean on or play with, or, if you can knock out the tutorial, learn that shit quick, because there's a lot of buttons and a lot of functions.
Yeah. Well, so what is like respawning like if, you're out on a mission like that and like one of you gets clipped and everybody else is still there, like what's your recourse at that point? Like, you watch until it's over, or are you getting back in there?
No. You respawn back in, but you can only respawn. You can only respawn where you've, of course, taken the land. You have to have like taken a position or an objective, cleared it, captured it, and I think you have to also have set up a relay to expand the spawn-in network and expand the communication network as well. And if you do that, and if there's supplies, because you have to have supplies to do anything, you can spawn back in on any of those locations, and there's going to be several of them, especially once you've advanced the battlefield and captured a bunch of spots. Your network will expand of spawn. Your respawn points will expand. Now, and you can also get a mobile command unit, which is just like this big ass truck, and then but that's a different thing. You can't you're not going to have those all over the map, but like if you have enough supplies and you purchase a mobile command unit with those supplies, you can like use that as a mobile respawn point, which is pretty cool. Mm-hmm. But so yeah, you get clipped, you respawn, boom, you're back at the, let's say it's I don't know, let's say it's Arkansas. No, let's say it's Tennessee. You're at Point Tennessee, because the American side names all of the objectives by states. So like you're at Point Tennessee, you respawn. Let's say you have a vehicle depot there. There's probably going to be other players there. You can. What I usually do is ask in comms, like if it's really far away, because sometimes you're pushing an objective that's really far away in enemy territory, and your team isn't going to be able to communicate with you necessarily. It depends on the whole radio network, how it's all set up. Like, that's what's so cool. At first, it's kind of like, God, it's kind of frustrating that I can't communicate with, usually, because we're so used to just always being talking together.
Oh yeah.
You know what I mean? We're so used to just always just chatting. Oh yeah. Blah, blah. So if you get, you'll be back at Point Tennessee, and they're trying to go take Point Wisconsin or something, and you got to get back there, and you can't see them on the map. I don't know if I've mentioned this. I haven't got into the navigation part yet, but this game actually makes you navigate, by the way, Chuck.
So it's not like just picking a spot on the map and pinging it.
Yeah, you can't just ping and ping it. No, you have to use a compass and a protractor.
Nice.
Is that what it's called? A protractor? I think it's called a protractor.
Oh yeah,
something like that.
The little
it's like this weird, like
thing.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And they teach you too in the game, but it's really cool. Like, look for landmarks and, keep an eye out for this, and you use your compass and it lines up on the azimuth and the whatever ith and all this stuff. And dude, it's so cool, dude. So you're either footing it, or you can see like, hey, is anyone heading back up to Point Wisconsin? Is anyone going in to support the take there? Maybe like, hey, we're heading that way, jump in, and you'll just jump in, dude. And like all this is with people that are playing with you. And they'll take, and then you find yourself there again, and sometimes you're so far out in enemy territory that you respawn at the last point, but you just got that place. You're hoping it doesn't get retaken, and you just got to hoof it, But there's also what's cool is that there's multiple channels. Like the radio system thing is very, very, it's really good, like, because you have a platoon channel where everyone in the platoon, let's say you're part of the Russian team, everyone on the Russian team can hear you when you talk into that channel. But then you have your squad channel, so you can like tune into the squad channel and be like, hey, you guys still up taking Point Wisconsin? Copy? Anyone there? Copy? Comms, and then they'll like get back to you, and like, oh, dude, some of this, there's been some moments that have been so, because everyone really role plays, everyone really gets into it, dude, and it's so funny, like, because you'll be looking to the side and there's this guy in his BDUs with an M16, and his name is like, Cheese Buns 420, and he's all talking real serious, like, all right, we're gonna head north and then go head left for about 20, It's like, what is this? It's so cool, Copy. Roger. It's so good, dude. Oh, it's so much fun, man.
Yeah.
But yeah, so the real trick is to not get shot.
I feel like that's one of the main things of all military sim games, I imagine. But I think one question I have too, though, like, what is the continuity like? Like, say we play today, and we take some things over, that kind of thing, or whatever. And when I come play tomorrow, am I still working in that same battle, or like we starting from scratch, or does it just depend on what server? Or
hey, fellow gamers. Hold on, that didn't come out right.
No, that's perfect.
Maybe we should just leave that. Hey, fellow gamers, if you haven't already, go on to Spotify, give us a follow and a 5-star rating. That would help us a bunch. We really need the support. It gets us out there to more fellow gamers like yourself. And yes, I will leave that blooper.
That's right. Because we love you gamos. And
the continuity interest. So it could very well be that if you signed in the next day, it's the very same battle going on. I saw, and I heard testimony of like people playing from anywhere from like 4 hours to 8 hours to up to like a day. I've heard different stories. So because the maps are huge and there's a ton of objectives, and you basically have to capture 5 of these primary objectives. And if you can hold those primary objectives for like, I think it's like 5 or 10 minutes or something like that, I don't remember, then you win. But that doesn't happen very fast. And if you're in a real, like, if you got 2 solid teams going and they're fully equipped and fully staffed teams, I've heard it. I've heard these battles going for dozens of hours. Dozens of hours. So yeah, depending on the scenario, you could, and I say this because it happened to me. We spawned into like a server that ended in 045, and we got our rank up to about sergeant level. And then I remember the next day we spawned back into 045, and the battle was still going, and we still had our rank.
Oh, okay.
Mm-hmm. But when the battle ends, that server will restart its battle. And it's kind of like Rust in that sense. When the battle restarts, you start back as a private.
I see. And no like base building other than just sort of like kind of progressing the points like you were describing. Like.
No, there is, but it's a different style of base building. It's more like fob building, I would say, because you have a main operating base. Like let's say because it's let's say we're on the Everon map and you're at one of the like cities, you'll have your main operating base there, and they'll call it California or something, or Maine, whatever the state may be. And there'll be a couple of those, but when you go outward, you have to build those, you capture these positions, and then at those positions you build fobs. So it'll be like this huge circle area, like you'll capture a position, there might be a little town there, or a crossroads, or a reservoir, or something, that you never know. The maps are beautiful. There'll be the area there, you've captured it, and then you'll have your main tent, and then from there, depending on how many supplies you have, you can start building stuff, and you might build a communications relay, which is very important, and then you'll build an ammo supply, and then you'll build a heavy vehicles depot, and then you'll build a light vehicle depot and a helicopter pad, and just you build these things, and basically you have to have supplies to do it. You don't have to get multiple different like resources, or you don't have to farm or anything. To get supplies, you have to go steal them. You have to go take them. And that's part of the battle, right? You're all right, boys. I'm gonna need a protection detail. Who wants to hop in? We're gonna go get some supplies, and you'll just get a truck or whatever you can take, and you'll find on the map these like strategic locations marked in green where there's supplies, like Intel's reported supplies at this location, and you'll go and you'll take a few guns with you just to make sure that someone's protecting you, and you pull up on the location, you fill the truck with supplies, and then you take it back to the fob and keep building.
Okay.
It's fun, dude. And just doing supply runs like that to go get supplies, it's combat, like there's a very, a lot of the supply depots are like in places where there's NPCs or actual players.
I see. Yeah. Wow. And like you've only like ran into fun cooperative players, or have there been like the trolls that want to fuck shit up?
That's such a great question, man. I haven't heard one. I don't. I haven't heard any negative talk, any bad language, any racist slurs, nothing. I haven't. It's been amazing. It's been a great experience. Everyone's super helpful. The weirdest thing I've come across is like a guy that just kept running around with like C4 and grenades in his hands going, "I've got the boom boom. I've got the boom boom." And it was just funny more than anything. He was just being a dummy. He had like these blast caps or something. Like, I don't remember what it is, but you get these like explosives and you can use to, and he wasn't like trolling anyone. He wasn't blowing anyone up, or, he was just kind of like wanting to go he was just another person going to the battle. Like, a lot of times like,
and friendly fire's a thing, or?
Oh yeah. Dude, it's all, yeah.
So he could, if somebody wanted to.
Oh yeah, he
really
could totally just,
show.
Oh yeah. But you can also kick players. You can vote to kick. So if someone's just, going crazy out there, you can all vote to kick a player. And it doesn't happen often, but it does. If someone's just being crazy or being inappropriate. But yeah, this guy was just funny because he was just another, he would do what he needed to do when we needed him to do it. But when we were just kind of like, all right, let's all get back in the, let's load up. We got to get back up to the front line. He's like, I've got the boom boom.
It does eventually happen.
And I remember like we were, because they got those trucks, those classic trucks where all the soldiers will sit in the back.
Deuce and a half.
Yeah. And we'll be heading up the road, and then I remember like someone saying, I don't remember the guy's name, but he'd be like, "Hey, so and so, how long have you been playing? Is this also your third day or whatever? Blah blah blah." And he's like, "Boom boom." Just that's all he would say. I've got the boom boom. Oh my gosh, dude, that was funny.
That's awesome.
Man, what a game.
Yeah.
What a game. So check this out. Let me bring this up here. Yeah, and I'm excited. It's just going to keep getting better and better. As of January 5th of this year, Arma Reforger has achieved significant milestones across all platforms. Total units sold over 1.5 million copies since its early access release in 2022. Daily active users on January 5th, 2025, the game reached a peak of 169,210 unique daily players across PC, Xbox, and PlayStation.
Jeez.
Over 55,000 on Steam, over 38,000 on Xbox, and over 75,000 on PlayStation, the majority being on PlayStation. Concurrent users on PC, a new record was set with 12,547 concurrent players on Steam. These achievements highlight the game's growing popularity and the developers' commitment to ongoing updates and community engagement. Dang, man.
Nice. Wow. Yeah, sounds like it's here to stay.
Yeah, it's. I'm trying to think of like some other really interesting stuff that stood out to me, and I know it'll come to. Oh, you can fly helicopters and all that stuff too, man. Like we had this one.
I saw a bit like a TikTok video of that.
Yeah. We were taking this one objective. I think it was called Utah, and gosh, what was the guy's name? Rip D or something. And Rip D was just, he had this one of those dual
Chinook.
prop. Just like transport, and he was just like running back from the main operating base to Utah, to Point Utah, and he's like, I'm just gonna keep running you guys in there, get in there, and he's just going back and forth picking up soldiers because it was a hard objective to take. It was a hard one, man, and I don't remember if we actually pulled it off or not because I eventually had to go to bed.
I bet flying is probably pretty damn hard. Like. Did they make it
so.
like realistic, like sort of, or?
They made it as realistic as possible while making it playable. Right, it's not that. And the reason I say that is because I did the tutorial, and it was doable. It was very doable. They didn't overcomplicate it. And I'm sure you can overcomplicate it if you want to, if you go into the options and you cancel some of the assistant aid. Because there are like vehicle aid assistants where like the game just, I think it uses AI to help you.
Yeah, like get her going, yeah.
Yeah, just little quality of life things. And I think you can turn all that shit off if you want and make it extra realistic. But, you know.
Yeah.
I'm gonna keep it simple for now, but I think the main things that really stood out to me were, number one, the community. What an amazing group of gamers that are playing this game right now. It's kind of like just what other game did we play where we noticed that everyone was really nice instead of being super toxic?
Helldivers was like that for a minute. Like in the beginning, Helldivers, like, you know, we were all trying to save Super Earth, and then you started getting like people,
it started getting a little nasty.
I just remember all of a sudden people were like arguing over the samples and all that mess. Like.
Yeah.
I think my first real argument was someone decided, like, and it is a pretty decent thought, like set the samples at the extraction point, you know, and like I came along and picked them up. I didn't realize that's what they were doing, and next thing you know, it's like. You know,
yeah, it got a little nasty where it didn't need to.
Yeah. You're just like, okay, dude. But yeah, well, that I feel like the complexness of it is almost a barrier that keeps a lot of the people that are just gonna troll out. You know what I mean? It just seems like I can download Warzone for free and be in there, and you know, you might be that dude that does really well and gets a bunch of kills, but if you don't, like, you might take another route.
Yeah. I might join the dark side and become a little hater and just squeaking and saying a bunch of dumb, crazy stuff. Yeah, just to get on people's nerves.
Yeah, and you've got no money invested, like you know, nothing really. And you know, with this, you got to buy the game first, and then, you know, it sounds like it takes a minute to learn. So
it takes. Yeah, and if you're being, you know, if you're being one of those like undesirables, no one's gonna help you, and that's really you need it. You need the help because people are so friendly and like, you know, it's like, hey, how do I do this? Oh yeah, just do this, and like you need that, you know, and it feels amazing, man, to like the teamwork and cooperativeness in this game feels different, and it's nice, and I like, you know, it's like you want to lean into it. Another thing is, you know, if you're going to be that kind of a player, do it at your own risk because you can get voted out.
Yeah.
All of a sudden, you'll see up in the top right, it says players are voting to kick so-and-so. Do you vote to agree or do you vote to decline? Boot them. And then you'll see it, like it'll pop up. The majority of players have voted to kick this player, and then they're out.
Yeah, that's a good feature to have in there.
Yeah, I mean, it's great. So that stood out to me. The navigation stood out to me in such a way that, like, it, you know, because when we signed into the game at first, we were trying to figure out, hey, how do I invite you to the game? How do I invite you to my squad? How do we link up? And there's no way to do that. There's no mechanism to do that, right? You join the faction or, you know, the country. And then you can pick a squad. So you have to kind of like your fellow players have to tell you, hey, I've been assigned to so-and-so squad. And then you join that squad so that you can be on the same squad. That's doable. But there's no mechanic to like, I can't like invite you into my squad. You know what I mean?
I see. Yeah.
We have to meet together. And then from there, so I thought that was really cool because, you know, it's part of the game that they didn't have to design a way to do that.
Yeah. It's like we went to basic training together and joined the army.
So that stood out to me. And, you know, the whole not being able to like mark spots on the map, you know, Chuck, you're going to love this. There is no mini map.
I'm on the mini map.
I'm on the mini map.
So you're not on the mini map.
I'm not. No one's on the mini map.
Oh,
there
man.
is no mini map.
This
just
could
a
be
map.
my time to shine. So do you feel like the nav like so there's actually like a magnetic north, and you got to whip out a compass and get the red line to get in the little area and figure out your bearings off of that kind of?
Yes, sir. So like I'll be like, okay, first you got to figure out where you are. And if you get, sometimes you usually know where you are because you're spawning in at a particular point and you can locate it on the map. But there are times when you don't, and you got to use landmarks to kind of like figure out, okay, there's a lighthouse over there. I'm standing next to these power lines. Power lines are black on the map. And then you kind of figure out where you are. But if you know where you are, and let's say I'm at Point, Wisconsin, and I need to get up to where you are because you're taking Point, California, and you're still alive and you're pushing, I can hear you on the radio. Get up here, bring some, So what I'm going to do is I'll break open the map. I'll get out the compass, and I'll make sure that I'll make sure that my character's pointing in the same direction the map is. I'll line up the north with the compass, and then I'll get out that protractor thing and a pencil. There's a little pencil you can use, and you draw a line. Like, you'd be like, okay, I'm here, and then Point, California's up here, and you draw the line. Okay, it's on azimuth 370, and then you'll come out of the map, and you'll like line up your compass. 370 this way, and then you'll start heading that way. It's sick, dude. And sometimes you got a helicopter, sometimes you're in a truck with someone else. It's not always like that, but there are moments when you're caught out there and you got to like find your way home.
Interesting.
It's cool.
And the map's like divided into grids, like the military use it, UTMs or whatever I think they call them, Universal Transverse Mercator.
That's it. Dude, I don't know if they're using the same, it's probably a simplified something or other, but yeah, it's, they make it way more, it's way more immersive than your average, there's no mini map, man.
One of my jobs at the Forest Service was to paint the boundary of the property that the Forest Service owned, and so that's how we would do it. Like, we had to use the compass like that, and you would find these markers that they drove in the ground or like hacks they'd put into trees like 10 years ago, and you had to do that. And it's fun, man. I like doing it. It kind of makes walking in the woods like an adventure, like that.
You just reminded me. I just made a big face. I'm sorry. I just made this like, you can't see it, fellow gamers, but I just made this like, whoa, like this, like my eyes lit up. Because Chuck just reminded me of something. They nailed the haptics and the sound in this game. The sound, the whole sound thing. What's it called? What do they call that? I don't remember the technical name, but anyways, the sound in the game is insane, especially when you're like comps and everyone's quiet and you're walking through the woods, and it's like there's a lot of leaves and you'll hear a branch go clack. And it just sounds so amazing, dude. And you can, really, because there's proximity chat, you can also hear enemy players like really subtly, like be like, and you can hear them like
talking to each other.
Yeah. And then the one, and I think anyone that's played Arma Reforger is going to agree with me about this, but I have never heard such authentic gunfire sound. Like when you're shooting an AK or you're shooting the M16, wow. It is, dude, it is so real. It sounds so real. We've fired weapons before. It's
what were we playing the other day that was like that? I forget, but I caught myself like having flashbacks of like bird hunting with my grandfather. All of a sudden, like that is getting better in games. Like,
what did we play? What would that have been? Shoot, it's not going to be Off the Grid.
Yeah, and it could. It wouldn't have been out of Super Animal Royale, but it might have been in Helldivers. There was some game we played there for a short period that I was having that reaction to. So yeah, I can imagine. That gets me sometimes, man. Like it's part of that buy-in, like a big part. I feel like,
man, Chuck, I and. I can't let this episode, because we're coming up on an hour and we can start wrapping this up, but I can't let the episode conclude without saying that I really do think you would love this game. And I remember Pepe and I were kind of like giggling a little bit, going like, I can't just tell Chuck, I'm not going to tell Chuck to get another damn game. We've literally done episodes about this where we're trying to settle into something and then we're like, hey, Chuck.
Yeah, so this milsim won't take a lot of learning.
This won't take any time out of your day.
No, I think you kind of presented it like when you said this is the next black hole we're going down, or whatnot, and yeah,
I probably chose the wrong wording for that.
And I will get it eventually. Like I don't have any real resistance. I was just having so much fun at ARC. Like I think we'd just sort of been raided, and like I just wasn't really willing to accept defeat. Just that little bit of shit talking I'd done on Discord was like, no, not letting this go.
That's funny. Yeah. No, it does take it takes a little bit of learning, but just a little bit. And honestly, like the learning is fun in this. It's really fun because everyone's so helpful, and of course at this point I wouldn't say that I've learned everything about the game, but we've got it pretty locked down.
Interesting. The things you mentioned are things that like I've had like I felt like one of my greatest things I could do at the Forest Service was talking on the radio. Like I feel like there's a whole thing. Like one of my first mentors was like, this kind of sets the mood for the whole deal. Like you're talking about, like we had squad channel, and then we had division channel, which is like all these other folks, and then you had the whole fire, and how we sounded to the rest of the fire, especially when you're on that group, the whole fire channel, it affected everyone's opinion of you, and
Chuck, we need
so you want to sound intelligent, and have your shit together, and especially like we would talk to those heavy helicopters that are like $25,000 a minute. So if you tell them to go, the wrong way, it just cost like $50,000.
No, like more than that.
Yeah. I'm exact. Maybe it's $25,000 a day, and I'm probably going a little far with that. It's a lot of fucking money. Is the point? Like.
Yeah, I get you. No, I feel
it's not. I'm not far off when I say that. It's like thousands a minute, and so
you can't just be going the wrong direction.
First time I did it, I acted a fool, and he sat me down and was like, dude, you gotta. Like, get all your shit together and then call him, So I would kind of put on this almost like radio voice, like kind of like I'm on the news or something. It's like, all right, for Echo Hotel, this is the Jackson Hot Shots, and like there's a whole thing. You say their name first, then you say your name, and when I see people not obeying that, it pisses me off. Like even in games, like I've seen it.
Dude, that's so dude. You would have the sexiest fucking voice on Arma Reforger. Yeah, I gotta be honest.
Then you start to realize, like you just see it, like you'd be in camp, like getting food or something, and someone would kind of like recognize your voice or whatever, and be like, oh, there's that dude. Like,
Hey, I've heard your voice before, ChukTomahawk. Yeah. Dude, it's so cool because that is totally like, and what's cool, what I love is that when you go into the game chat, because again, you can't like invite people, you're in their chat. They got this like, I don't know if it's an intentional filter or not, but they really nailed the walkie-talkie style of like sound.
Yeah.
So it's
well, and too, like, so I feel like there's levels. Like, there's competence, which sounding professional, and then there's that dude that can sound calm when shit's going to hell. And just the opposite is like, if you start freaking out when shit's going to hell, it makes everybody else freak out. But if you can be like, we got a little old,
we're taking fire at
little
position.
Second squad up here. We're going to need to bring a couple other people up, and just sound really calm. When it's that's also contagious. I like that. Yeah, that's probably a fun part of that game. It sounds like,
dude, it's so much fun.
Because even all my life, even when they're making the run in Star Wars on the Death Star, and they're talking, it's like Red Leader, like he's like, slow down.
Oh, dude, whenever I go into the game, I always name this, because we've been making our own squads lately and letting people join us. I always name it Big Red 1. Based off the Big Red 1.
Yeah.
Big Red 1. Oh, man. It's so much fun.
Yeah. Man,
dang.
I don't know exactly when I'll try it. It'll be soon.
Wish list it so that if it goes on sale or something, you'll get a heads up.
Yeah. You said $40, so that's not even
it's $40
like AAA money.
No, but it's I'm just saying, like But it's definitely an amazing, fun game. There is a learning curve. If you can play with friends, you're going to play with friends. You're going to end up making friends in the game. So there's really no lose. But if you're into that stuff, if you're into shooters, if you're into role playing a little bit and just sandbox exploration and some really intense, well polished combat, just really gets your heart racing combat, definitely check out this game. Yeah. Definitely give it a shot. Wishlist it, whatever. And I can vouch on PC on PS5. It's really good. They don't have the community tab yet where you can play the modded servers, but they are gonna release that. At least that's what I heard. They're expecting to release that for PS5 as soon as they can. They're working on it, and yeah, what a game! What a game! I don't know. There's not much else I can say about it.
I think the person that put that, this might be the second time I've talked to you in a week. You guys were I was like that. What is it? God, what is his name? That meme where John Travolta's kind of looking around.
Oh yeah. Well, Pepe was saying the other day, Pepe's like, I feel kind of bad. I don't know. I feel like we're kind of not. He didn't even know how to say it, I feel kind of basic. I think he said, I feel kind of bad with Chuck. Yeah. I'm like, don't feel bad, man. I mean, we're all adults and it's not like it's just that, I told him dude, if he wants to try this game, he can try it. And when we want to play Ark, we'll go play Ark. It's not like I didn't, none of us have,
definitely how
he didn't delete Ark. I didn't delete Ark.
I assumed it had a pretty, maybe at first I thought, well, maybe we could just still chat, or whatever. But then I assumed it probably had a pretty detailed, communication system and was like, yeah. But it is.
Yeah, that's true. I mean, I'm always down for that. I have no issue playing one game and chatting with homies on party chat that might be playing another game. Pepe's not used to that as much. I'm totally okay.
There are times when it's hard,
Yeah, fair enough. Yeah, it depends on what you're playing, I suppose.
Yeah.
But with this particular game, with Arma Reforger, you really do need to be in public chat, participating and getting in there. If there's very, very limited, it's very rare that you're alone or that you're just with your buddy or buddies and that you could be in a private chat. I mean, you can do that, but you really are doing a disservice to the team, Yeah.
Ultimately. And that says a lot about the game because we've been in that situation a few times. It's kind of like that in Helldivers, and we stick with party chat usually, and I can see how though it adds a lot of depth to the game.
It's so much fun. I'm so excited for the future of Arma Reforger, and it's definitely going to be. I don't know. I can see this being. Fuck. I can see myself playing this for a minute. At least until I don't know. I mean, we've only been playing it for a few days, so I think I'm getting ahead of myself. But yeah, that's how fun it is.
Yeah.
Well, anyways, any final comments? Final thoughts?
I'll be interested to see how this keeps going for y'all, and how long you stick with it, and I'll probably get in there eventually.
Man, yeah.
I've got some payback I got to give there on Ark, and when I get that done, I'll be ready.
Well, shoot, yeah, I don't think I have anything else. I highly recommend it. Give it a shot. It's a good buy. Looking forward to seeing what else comes out, and I guess we can wrap it up there.
Nice.
Hell yeah. Well, Chuck, thanks, man, and thanks fellow gamers out there. Tune in for the next one.